to minors all day, every single day. I recently came inside somebody's butt, and so I decided to finally get back on prep. I love to cosplay as a disgustingly obese slave when I'm feeling down, just cause like it's so comforting to stuff your face like a fat pig when you feel off.
In 2023, a YouTube video of an Asian guy showing the world his bare butt brought the world to a pause.
Hold on.
This is on YouTube?
Yeah, but it went viral on TikTok.
For reference, this is how hairy my butt is right now.
What?
And if you stay on TikTok for long, then that Asian guy, aka Kevin Leonardo, will definitely find his way to your feed. The self-proclaimed influencer slash LGBTQ community educator slash Mr. Ragebaiter.
Just got edged for an hour straight, and I loved every second of it. I absolutely love being touched in this way, and my heart was beating.
This guy has crazy case where he carried out acts that could throw his ass in jail. 1. Minors in a Discord server, engaging them in talks meant for adults, all the while being aware that these are children, as you can see in this screenshot of him admitting to it himself.
I talk to minors all day, every single day, and I love it. I talk to minors on IG DMs, I talk to minors on Discord, I play League with minors all.
He took it to another sick level, role-playing as a child victim on Jeffrey Epstein's island, the billionaire who used his private island to traffic and abuse children, with some of the world's most powerful people involved. Then in a move that angered the black community, Kevin did blackface, adding the racist card to his long list of controversies. If this guy hasn't shown up on your feed, well, meet Kevin Leonardo, the internet's favorite problem. On August 24th, 2023, a Twitter user at MintyBadWord decided they'd seen enough atrocities, took to Twitter and posted screenshots exposing a very dark side not many people knew about Kevin Leonardo. In that tweet, they gave a stern warning with a bold "beware" and proceeded to let everyone know that they should be careful of the creator named Kevin Leonardo. Thing is, Kevin had created a Discord server which he named the Creepiest Kevs, and had been running it for months. Now, at MintyBadWord had gone undercover in the server to fish out info on the already most hated guy on the internet at that moment. On the surface, this server had nice little rules, well, except for one. Rule 3 says porn content is not allowed in any channel on the server. Rule 4, talking about all that do not spam the channel talks. However, Rule 8 was where things looked very shady. The rule says, people younger than 13 will be banned and reported to Discord. Now first of all, why is Kevin, the sex educator, letting kids as young as 13 in his server? What could he possibly want to discuss with them? Cartoons? At MintyBadWord revealed that the Creepiest Kev server had over 4,000 members, and most of these members were minors. And what's worse, these minors were actively participating in explicit channels like they were joining a book club. At MintyBadWord posted more screenshots that revealed these minors were actively having talks and sharing pornographic content on the server. And as if minors and adult channels wasn't enough of a red flag, the server had also evolved into a full-blown hookup spot. Not only were these minors having these crazy interactions with their fellow minors, but other adults in the server were right there engaging with these kids too. What's even more insane is the moderator of the adult channels being a 14-year-old with the username Meta. Now just so you can understand how crazy this is, the moderator is in charge of coordinating all these adult channels, relaying messages directly to Kevin, and basically running the whole operation. This means this child was the gatekeeper between other minors and content. I guess who made it his sole duty to appoint a 14-year-old child to run a Discord channel full of adult content? You guessed right, none other than Kevin himself. I mean, knowing all we know at this point, who's even surprised? Basically, this is a case of the inmates running the asylum, except these inmates were children and the asylum was full of not safe for work content. The conversations happening between Kevin, Meta, and other members were the kind that should have Kevin's butt thrown in jail and the keys thrown into the ocean. But somehow, Kevin's still walking free. In this exchange, Kevin initiates the conversation by stating he is aroused and asking the members if they feel the same way. Now the context suggests that Kevin had just sent an explicit video and was soliciting feedback on it. A user named Jakey then responds, confirming that he's in fact loving the video, but that of his moderator would make everyone's head spin. This kid said that video made him aroused. After Twitter user at MintyBadWord dropped the expose, bringing all the behind the scenes madness into the light, Kevin clearly didn't care. Instead of lying low, he took a screenshot of @MintyBadWord's post and sent it right back to the server with a totally unhinged caption, actually making fun of the entire situation. Despite all that drama and the public calling out, Kevin remained completely hard-headed and just kept on running the community like nothing happened. Then in February 2024, another Twitter user known as @Luxabugs jumped into the fray. This user basically snuck into the server like an FBI agent gathering intel. They then posted even more information, specifically quoting at Minty Bad Word and totally doubling down on the findings. They uncovered even more creepy things that were still going down in the server. Even after it had been publicly exposed, one major finding was the completely blatant but casual racist jokes that were allowed to be tossed around freely. This was happening even though the server supposedly had a rule against that kind of content. We even see a screenshot of these members casually making fun of black people, dropping an edited meme of George Floyd with the caption, "absolutely breathtaking." And to make things even worse, pedophilic jokes were also casually dropped in the chat. About an hour after @Luxabugs dropped that second heavy-hitting tweet detailing the racism and pedophilic jokes, Kevin finally lost his cool. This time, there was no joking around. He totally panicked. He immediately made a post where he lightly referred to all the drama that had been going on. Instead of addressing the actual toxicity, he just claimed he was sick of Twitter and the negativity that tweeps kept bringing down on his server. Seriously, how do you even define this as negativity when you're the one who is clearly in the wrong? Kevin, make it make sense! The panic was definitely kicking in now. Kevin and his moderator, Meta, must have had a frantic meeting and decided on an emergency cleanup. They immediately scrubbed the adult channel, you know, the one where they were free to carry out their sick related fantasies with minors. They quickly replaced it with a squeaky clean health and wellness channel. But by that point, deleting a channel was like mopping up after the Titanic sank. The cover-up was completely pointless because the whole story had already spread far and wide like wildfire, bringing massive backlash from people across the internet, from Twitter to various subreddits. Everyone was ready to tear Kevin into pieces, which honestly was well-deserved anyway. The internet had no patience for his weak excuses. Someone even went full investigative journalist and put together a Google Drive folder that circulated publicly. This folder was packed with screenshots and documents showing all the problematic behavior happening in the community. Basically a digital evidence locker, and Kevin's name was all over it. Finally, on April 3rd, 2024, Kevin dropped a tweet attempting to address the allegations, likely after his PR team, if he has one, had a collective meltdown. He went to full denial mode, claiming he had never had sexual conversations with minors or exploited them, his excuse being that his adult channel was meant for people who are 18. At this point, no one was even taking Kevin seriously anymore. After all, his attempt to deny the allegations by claiming the channel was meant for people who are 18 was actually a veiled admission. By using the plural S when talking about his followers being minors, he was essentially admitting that lots of his followers were in fact underaged. And let's not even get started on the truly disgusting conversations Kevin was having directly with these minor followers of his. Take a clean look at the evidence, starting with this, to this, to this. All this crazy interaction with a 13-year-old child. 10 days later, on April 13th, 2024, Meta announced they were stepping down from their moderation role. In their public statement, they tried hard to make it clear that Kevin had not groomed them. They even went on to share the whole story of how they originally became a moderator. On top of all that, there's another disturbing detail that surfaced, revealing the kind of content Kevin was making before the big controversies. Kevin had previously uploaded a video, which is now deleted anyway, where he talked about having a fantasy that involved role-playing as a child victim on Jeffrey Epstein's island.
So we would roleplay as like college students, for example, or like whatever we would think about like that's like arousing in like a given month, right? And so one time I watched the Jeffrey Epstein documentary on Netflix, and I was really not inspired, but I was like, oh, like this is actually interesting that, you know, this like powerful person was bringing people like to his island and like them, and I was like, oh, like that's like low-key hot. Like it's bad. Like I wouldn't actually want that to happen to me. I wouldn't want that to happen to me, like personally. Like I care about my health and like my consent and stuff. Like
people were understandably horrified. Kevin later tried to explain that this fantasy was connected to his own trauma from being molested twice as a child in Indonesia, but that explanation didn't exactly make people feel better about it. But Kevin rarely stays focused on one type of controversy. In May 2024, he decided to add racial controversy to his already impressive resume of internet drama. He posted a video where he applied Youthforia's new foundation shade called 600 Deep, a shade explicitly designed for black skin tones, to his own much lighter complexion. But he didn't stop there. On one half of his face, he slapped on the Youthforia shade, and on the other half, he used Fenty Beauty's darkest shade, creating the stark contrast that immediately set off alarm bells for anyone watching. Then came the part that really made people lose it. Kevin labeled Youthforia's darkest foundation as blackface in his video. And if you don't know the history there, blackface is when white performers used to paint their faces dark to mock black people. This practice has a deeply racist history that dehumanized black individuals and kept harmful stereotypes alive for generations. So yeah, not exactly something you want to casually throw around in a makeup review.
The darkest of blacks would get called out for cultural appropriation if they wore this Youthforia foundation shade. This is literally like if a brand put out like a purely orange shade or like a purely yellow shade and was like, here you go, Asians.
Kevin tried to frame the whole thing as just for demonstration, positioning himself as some kind of critic exposing Youthforia's problematic product. He even said that black people online were upset with Youthforia for releasing such a dark shade because wearing it could lead to accusations of cultural appropriation. But here's the irony that wasn't lost on anyone. By putting on an extremely dark foundation himself and literally calling it blackface, Kevin was doing exactly what he claimed to be critiquing. The call was coming from inside the house, as they say.
That's with Youthforia for releasing this super dark foundation, and I don't wear makeup, but like I'm obsessed with like online beauty scandals and like drama, so like I had to get a bottle for myself. So today, let's put this on my face and see.
The backlash hit faster than you can say delete this. Social media users came for Kevin's neck, accusing him of rage baiting. That's the fun little tactic where influencers deliberately provoke outrage to rack up engagement, usually at the expense of specific communities. People called his video tone deaf and racially insensitive. They said he was making light of the serious historical pain associated with blackface. They also said he was misusing a makeup product that was designed to serve a community the beauty industry has ignored for way too long.
The blacks of the internet are very upset with Youthforia for releasing this.
Kevin Leonardo, so you don't wear makeup, but you put on an entire black face. You didn't recognize what you were doing at the time, but then you referred to us multiple times as the blacks. And oh yes, I saw that fake apology of yours, and it's completely unaccepted.
Now, Kevin did have some defenders who argued his video was trying to expose real problems with the foundation. Black influencers like Gloria George had already criticized the product, calling it tar in a bottle because of its poor quality and how it actually harms black skin tones. So there was a legitimate conversation to be had about Youthforia's mess of a product launch. But instead of contributing to that conversation in a meaningful way, Kevin's approach just poured gasoline on the fire and made everything worse. Kevin later deleted the video and offered an apology to the black community, but it was rejected, with the community saying that the apology was forced. And when you look at it, they could be right, because during one of Kevin's live streams, he was asked if he felt bad about the blackface video, and he said not really.
Do I feel bad about the foundation video? Not really.
If you didn't get a chance to experience this man in his first moments on the internet, prepare to be even more traumatized. We did mention that first video that launched Kevin into virality, the bare butt YouTube video that was essentially a hate crime against everyone's collective eyeballs. Right at the start of his educator career, Kevin was feeling way too ambitious. He decided to make a tutorial video to show his community exactly how to remove butt hairs. Kevin delightfully titled it "Removing Butt Hairs Using Hair Cream, a Visual Guide." Everyone initially thought it had to be some kind of clickbait title where he was actually talking about lawn care or something, but nope. Kevin looked directly into the camera and delivered on that promise with the passion of a cooking show host, truly showing his viewers how to remove butt hair using Nair cream. For a video that honestly should have never seen the light of day, you already know what kind of reaction followed. A lot of people were genuinely traumatized by what they'd witnessed. Rightfully so. Viewers immediately started asking this very reasonable question in the comment section. Why is this allowed? More so, there were so many hate comments like this one, which says, "Send Kevin to the deepest layers of hell for all I care," and many more that truly wanted to come for Kevin's head. But the trauma didn't stop at just comments. People were so disturbed they actually started signing petitions to have the video taken down. According to them, this type of content posed a legitimate threat to children's innocence. Children needed to be protected, preferably from ever knowing that video existed in the first place. The video blew up even further and sparked an entire wave of TikTok reaction videos. Thousands of innocent souls were tricked into watching the reactions, without any warning about what fresh hell was about to assault their eyeballs.
Getting my friend's reaction of the Nair hair removal video.
This is how hairy my butt is right now.
What the?
However, not everyone was ready to crucify Kevin. A lot of people in his comments actually came out to defend Kevin, arguing that he made the video specifically for the LGBT community. And seeing as he's part of that community himself and his YouTube channel is age restricted anyway, they implied that everyone should just calm down. Before all the controversies and visual guides, Kevin Leonardo was just a kid who moved from Jakarta, Indonesia to the United States in 2007. He grew up in a middle-class household and dealt with significant trauma, including being molested twice as a child and struggling with depression and self-harm throughout high school. school. After graduating in 2016, he went on to study journalism at Boston University's College of Communication, earning his bachelor's degree in 2020. He started his social media journey in 2018 on Instagram, initially posting about travel, hobbies, and general life updates. Eventually, he found his niche creating content for the LGBTQ+ community, positioning himself as a educator. By 2023, he'd built a following of over 650,000 on TikTok and reportedly made 6 figures from social media. Now his following is at 1 million. Now, after the whole dragging for posting that bare butt video, Kevin clearly felt the pressure and the hate from all those comments. He mentioned that he went off the internet for a while just to let the dust settle. When he finally came back, he did what any sane person would do after traumatizing half the internet. He deleted the video and posted an explanation for why it had to go.
The reason why I deleted that video was because I had been posting like a lot of like weird videos onto YouTube in like specifically in 2024. Yes, in 2023 too, but in 2024 I felt like I think I reached like a creative block.
However, Kevin may have deleted that video, but he definitely didn't delete his life mission. He came back with more energy and got even louder.
My pubes and butt crack right now are fully giving hairy Middle Eastern man. Like my privates literally look like Chewbacca, and I don't give a I'm not the hairless Nair guy anymore. Like, I'm leaving that in the past. I've grown out of it, literally. But you know what I do give a f about? The fact that I grow the nastiest face.
We went through his catalog of videos, and let's just say Kevin prides himself as an LGBTQ educator and influencer. But he takes that educator title very seriously. Maybe a little too seriously, if we're being honest.
Just got molested. I'm still soaked and still really wet because I did come. And I did do my best to please the man in charge. He worked the hell out of me. My arms, I can barely lift them up without shaking. My legs, they're super sore and just tight. My butt is clenching as we speak just because like my glutes were just violated and overworked.
Not even being scared of what anybody would say, Kevin uploaded another video that was basically the spiritual successor to the butt hair saga. This time it was titled Shaving My Pubes Using Olav Trimmer, a visual guide. The video was a precise visual tutorial on removing hair from the lower private areas, as Kevin once again showed his viewers the full step-by-step process. At least this time he had the decency to throw some censorship on the YouTube version. But right here, Kevin really showed he was a savvy businessman. He just casually mentioned that if his viewers wanted the uncensored version, the full, unfiltered experience, they could simply hop over to his website and kevinleonardo.com and check it out to their heart's content. Now this is where things start feeling a little weird, because how can the end goal here just be pure education when you're asking people to move to your site to see your uncensored videos? That feels a bit, well, weird. But Kevin actually gave an explanation for why he wasn't on OnlyFans, grabbing the extra cash since he was already going naked on the internet.
My channel, and when they took down 2 of my visual guides, obviously I freaked out and I deleted all of my nude videos on YouTube. I just like removed them off the platform and I put them on my site. So like if you want to see my unblurred visual guides, you have to go on my site and subscribe, and I will link that down below. I do requests now. If you like have a personalized tutorial that you want me to do that you personally want, like I'll put that at the link below too. My uncensored content is still up and alive, but when that happened to me, I did have a split-second thought, like what if I like got on OnlyFans and like put my content, my normal uncensored hair removal tutorials on OnlyFans? Like, would people like that? Would people subscribe to me?
Anyway, Kevin doesn't stop at just those 2 videos. There's a whole library of content where he demonstrates some unique teaching methods, along with a couple of weird stories he just has to tell the entire internet. This includes titles like how to safely shave your pubes, how to anal douche without an enema bulb, and even how to safely finger your butt. Yeah, it's just a lot. Speaking of those in-depth guides, we even found one where Kevin felt the need to explain how to get rid of smelly pubes, which is apparently a concern people have, and Kevin being Kevin decided the world needed his expert guidance on the matter. And
my pubes smell worse in June because that's when it gets hot in Cali, so I'm gonna give you some tips on how to keep your sack area smell less bally in the summertime. Don't wear underwear that's like too tight.
And of course, the comments section had plenty to say about it. But here's the funny part. Almost half the comments weren't even about the actual content. Instead, people were desperately begging him to add an intro to his videos. Anything at all, instead of just immediately hitting them with the information like a jump scare. And if you thought the personal grooming guides were the only weird things he was putting out there, you're in for a long thing. In a different piece of content, Kevin did what he called an obesity haul. He identified himself as a fat pig, announced his pronouns were diabetes, and said his diet was cavities.
Tonight, I identify as a fat pig. My pronouns are diabetes, and my diet is cavities. I have here in my hands obesity. This is another obesity haul. Fun fact, yesterday I went to the same exact bakery and I got 2 giant brioche buns.
It seems like the constant backlash and the wild comments have created a specific persona for him. Kevin is so used to letting people think the worst of his videos and him in general, and it truly feels like he genuinely enjoys every moment of it. This drive for dramatic reaction often shows up even in his normal, everyday updates. In one clip, for instance, he was just trying to announce that he got a fresh haircut, but the way he described it felt like he was narrating some kind of passionate encounter with a lover.
Just got edged for an hour straight and I loved every second of it. I absolutely love being touched in this way, and my heart was beating the entire time in just anticipation and pleasure and excitement, and the climax was so absolutely terrific. I literally just burst. I could not keep it in. I could not handle it.
He made a trip to the barber sound like a scene from a romantic movie, and you could tell that he knew exactly what he was doing.
He edged my hairline so...
But when it comes to the level of unnecessary detail he provides, Kevin always managed to raise the bar. In yet another totally unbelievable video, this guy boldly explains how he gets chunks of poop off his butt after it's been covered with hair, which is information that absolutely nobody asked for, but Kevin delivered it anyway with the confidence of someone giving a TED Talk.
My butthole is back to being hairy and poop chunks are getting stuck on the hairs whenever I shart, and it's actually really annoying because I have to like shake my butt on top of the toilet to get the chunks out of the hairs and like into the toilet bowl.
But amidst all the shocking tutorials and weird jokes, Kevin does open up about his past in a way that's genuinely serious for once. He talked about being molested as a child, his struggles with his mom, and how sharing his trauma in a college writing class changed everything for him.
Receiving head from an old file at 6 years old, having homosexual thoughts as a teen, cutting myself in high school, like these weren't topics that I could talk about so openly and so casually for like most of my life before I was like 18, 19.
He realized that oversharing became his coping mechanism and his way of taking back control. According to Kevin, that's what fuels his entire approach to content now, the belief that his extreme honesty helps other people feel less alone.
How when I raised my hand and told the whole class about my situation and wrote about it, I felt so empowered and felt so free about it. And then after that, people came up to me after the class and like online and like in my college and were like, hey, Kevin, like the same thing happened to me with my uncle, with my grandpa, with a stranger, with a family friend. And at that point, I knew the power of like words and the power of like sharing my story. And that is the reason why I now feel so fueled to share things that happened to me.
This mission led to another point where Kevin actually gave a guided tour of the scars on his body, basically showing himself off like some kind of stranger's exhibit. But then he totally shifts gears to tell these stories about 2 other scars. He didn't just point to them. He went into the full details of the weird events behind each one, really cementing his whole thing about sharing deeply private and often unbelievable stuff.
Like this 6th grader walking home with a roller backpack. My roller backpack literally fell. It was like a stop sign. And this dude just like literally did not stop. And he like hit me. He stopped, so that's why I like crossed the street. And then he like kept going after he stopped. And then like my roller backpack fell. And then I literally fell to the ground. And then I bled.
And speaking of those incredibly personal details, in another video, Kevin was casually walking people through his entire ball shaving evolution. He covered everything from plucking in middle school, to using Office Depot scissors, to finally landing on electric razors. That willingness to share any detail, even the ones most people keep secret, was on full display in one story. Kevin woke up one morning and decided the internet needed to know about his explosive bathroom experience after eating a certain candy bar. And by explosive, we mean he had such a bad bowel movement that he completely splattered the entire toilet area. He went into detail about how the mess reached the seat, the bowl, and even the underside of the lid. After describing the widespread mess, he then pivoted to a public service announcement about cleaning up after yourself, which feels ironic given the subject he just described.
So I just sharted out all of my Kit Kats that I ate last night, and it literally splattered all over the toilet seat and like all over the toilet bowl and like even the toilet seat lid like above. It was so nasty, and obviously I had to like clean it all up with like Lysol and like wipes and stuff.
That constant chase for attention, however, is a skill he has perfected. Kevin has basically perfected the art of the bait and switch intro, and this video might be his masterpiece. He opened with a line so deliberately shocking it sounded like it was designed in a lab to make people's jaws drop. He said something about swallowing thick, juicy loads after getting molested at the gym. Your brain immediately goes to the worst possible place, which is exactly what Kevin wants.
Swallowing thick, juicy loads after getting molested at the gym is my favorite thing to do, especially if they're like yomai and my tomai, and especially if I produce the loads myself. So here's how I make my protein smoothies after a really hard workout at the gym.
But even though Kevin loves pushing buttons and thrives on the drama, the constant wave of comments still hits him sometimes. After dropping all those visual guides that left the internet traumatized, Kevin apparently had enough of people roasting him in the comments about his size, so he posted a video specifically to address everyone making fun of him for being small and tiny and petite and micro.
Am I sad that my figure is small? No, because I'm not straight, so girls would not be complaining about it. And as a gay man that's a bottom, I'm not using it. So do I care much? Not really. I feel like there are so many people that are like me that are also small that like feel ashamed for being small and like feel ashamed of like their size. And I feel like I just want to like make people not feel that way and like be empowered in what they have and like their size, because even though I know nothing about like that, you know, it's all about technique anyway. It's not really about like...
You would think that addressing the size of criticism would make him dial things down, but that's not Kevin. Instead, he took the criticism and decided to embrace a completely different extreme. He had previously made a joke about being overweight, and now he was fully committed to making that joke bigger. To prove his point, he was back at it again with the same weird persona. He starts with a strange opening line about acting like an extremely overweight person when he feels down. This time, he was doing a cookie taste test. While ranking the flavors, he dramatically exaggerated his eating and announced he was aroused in a non-sexual way just because of the baked goods.
I love to cosplay as a disgustingly obese slave when I'm feeling down, just cause like it's so comforting to stuff your face like a fat pig when you feel off. Like I should eat a salad and I should maybe go on a walk or like hit the gym, but instead I order obesity in a box, and that's how I like it.
This habit of creating a massive, terrifying lie just to grab attention is a core part of his brand. Kevin opens yet another video with his signature shock intro, this time declaring he'd get molested first thing in jail without lube and without consent if he ever ended up there. He painted this whole graphic picture about dropping the soap and some big Mexican drug lord doing nasty things to him. But then, after all that deliberate shock, the actual topic was just him complaining about paying taxes.
I'm getting molested first thing in jail without lube and without my consent. If I ever had to set foot in jail, like I know I would like drop my soap and like some big Mexican drug lord is going to do like some nasty things to me. So like I would never do anything illegal that would like land me in jail. With that being said, because it's tax season, I want to evade tax so badly, like legally, like...
That willingness to share the most unnecessary personal details is a well he keeps going back to. It turns out the candy bar story wasn't the last time he felt the need to update the world on his bowel situation. He came back with what can only be described as a diary entry about a bathroom accident, opening with the hard-hitting news that he had 2 different incidents of accidental bowel movements, and both times the mess splattered.
I just started twice and they both splattered. This video was taken during my first shart at like 11 a.m.
The thing about Kevin is, you genuinely never know what's coming next from him, because you never know what he'll do. He suddenly shifts into performance art, appearing in a video acting like he's crying, but the tears running down his face don't look like tears at all, more like milk. It's confusing as hell because you can't tell if it's supposed to be some kind of deep meaning, a failed attempt at being artistic, or just Kevin being weird for the sake of being weird. Whatever message he was trying to send completely got lost in the dairy products dripping down his face. But Kevin's biggest trick is still how he uses a shocking lie to get you to click. He proves it immediately with an intro that starts with, "I just came for like the 3rd time today outside of my parents' house and it literally felt so good," which immediately sends your brain into panic mode. But then he clarifies. He came outside to watch his neighbors bang nails into a memorial for Chess Chess, a little girl who died last Wednesday, except Chess Chess isn't a little girl at all. She's a cat. The thing is, Kevin has a pretty weird relationship with his cats that goes way beyond just being a devoted pet owner. We found a couple of videos where he casually mentioned doing some genuinely disgusting things to his cat. The kind of stuff that makes you wish you could unsee and unhear it.
I'm super into rubbing my cat's sticky discharge with my fingers because my cat has like this problem where he gets wet like so often in like one day.
The videos get even worse, and it makes you seriously wonder if someone needs to check on the welfare of his pets.
I would love to perform oral on my cat and just like service and please him in that way. We squeeze my cat's schlong, not to like molest him, or my cat and I make out on the lips all day, every single day. Like we're always kissing, like we literally cannot get enough of each other, and like I love him so much. much that I actively have to like resist not using tongue and like just sticking my tongue down his throat. Let's put cock inside my cat's mouth. I stuck this fun stick inside my cat's moist hole.
Of course, these clearly disgusting revelations created a mountain of reactions on TikTok and YouTube as well.
I'm super into rubbing my cat's sticky discharge with my fingers because my cat has like this problem where he gets wet like so often in like one day, kind of like me, like father, like son, and he just like leaks literally all day, and the substance that he leaks out is always...
But the truth about Kevin's audience is that they absolutely eat up his content. The people who get it really get it, and they're not shy about showing their appreciation either. The comment sections are filled with praise, thank yous, and declarations of how helpful his content is. So clearly Kevin found his people, and his people found exactly what they were looking for, educational purposes and all. And that brings us to the end of today's video. After seeing all these wild moments, what do you think about Kevin Leonardo? Is he just pushing boundaries for attention, or crossing lines he never should have touched? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if we skipped over any of his most notorious moments, be sure to share them.